All right, I have transferred a new copy of config and ROS over to my disk drive. I have loaded after after disconnecting and reseating the 8K SRAM chip that houses ROS, houses the ROS. I loaded up a new ROS, a fresh one, into the system, and I have taken out the cartridge. So this time when I turn on the console, because I have enabled auto start, when I turn on the console, it should give me the modified ROS title screen, and if it does, we'll be in good shape, at least temporarily. So let's go ahead and start it up, and we'll see what we get. Okay, fantastic. So as you can see, it's a really ugly title screen, but it means that it's working. We definitely have a working system right now. So let's try that test we tried a minute ago. Okay, we're going to save disk5.test, and we'll see if it activates. Yep, it blinked out. So now let's do this all over again. We will exit out. Good, we have the title screen again. That's good, which means that I think that we're going to be able to retrieve this from basic. Old disk5.test. Okay. So it worked. It worked. That's awesome. So I want to try turning everything off, letting it sit for a second, and then we'll try turning it back on. So we know that it works with a fresh copy of ROS. Now we need to find out whether it retains the information in the card after power is disconnected to the PEB. If it does, then we can consider it a storage issue, which is probably related to the new battery that's in it. So let's go ahead and shut it off. We'll shut this off. Shut off this disk drive back here. All right, now we'll sit for a second. In the meantime, I just wanted to talk about the awesomeness of this cartridge right here. This is probably the most useful cartridge I've ever owned. It has an unbelievable amount of utilities on it that I use for almost everything. I used it for transferring ROS in the configurator, or the configuration program over here, using Fred Call's CFHDXS1 program, which was initially designed so that you could transfer via serial through a compact flash device, a NanoPeb that has a serial port. You'd be able to do the transferring from his HDX program on the PC, the server basically, and the NanoPeb, which I don't have, but it works with a regular RS-232. You don't need a modified HDX RS-232 to do this. Okay, so we've been down long enough. Let's give it a try. We'll just turn this on. And again, with no cartridge in the slot, we should get the modified title screen. And we do. So this is a significant improvement over what we had earlier. Okay, it looks like it loaded just fine. Okay. Well, I can't say I know exactly why this happened, but I can show you what we did. talked about this briefly in the other, in the first video. So what we did essentially was we took out the 8K chip that houses ROS. Let me move all this junk again. We took that out. We reseated it really cleanly, really firmly. So let's try to unplug this, and I'll show you the chip one more time. So it's this one right here. It's that one. It's an 8K chip, and we have pulled it out, let it sit for a minute, reseated it very firmly, and put it back in. And then we used TI-99 HDX and the CF HDX program that is in the XB 2.7 suite, and we were able to transfer over the new CFG and the new ROS. Let's put this back in gently, very gently. Let's get this sucker seated in there again. Always got to be careful with these cards. Okay, so it's seated back in there now, and we'll just try it one more time. Make sure that it works. Because the card has a battery, I'm sure most everybody knows this, but because the card has a battery, it's battery-backed RAM, so it should never lose the contents of the RAM as long as that battery is good. Okay, so let's try this again. Make sure we're good here. Here we go. Here's the test. Okay, I don't know why it worked, but it looks like it did. We have a functioning, working RAM disk that seems to be stable at this point. We'll come back again in the morning and try it out. It's very late here right now, but I'm excited. It's this is a really awesome. This is a really awesome piece of hardware, and I'm getting ready to transfer over the newest version of Menu. So as you probably saw earlier, when you run CFG, what it does is it gives you three little things on the left side. It tells you the three things, the three user functions on the left. And one of the first one is Menu. And what that means is that it's going to try to auto start any program called Menu that's on your RAM disk, as long as it's on the first disk in your card. And Menu is actually a really interesting program in and of itself. It's worth its own video, but we'll show that. We'll do that video another time. And it's basically the operating system for this, and it pops up and it gives you options on what you can do. You can customize it, load whatever you want in there. I would use probably Telco would be one of the ones I would have in there, as well as CF HDX. That way I wouldn't have to use my extended basic cartridge. So just to kind of show you one of the interesting things about this is if Menu doesn't exist, right? And if you don't have Menu on your disk and you have a cartridge in, when I start this up, you're not going to see that title screen. It doesn't give you any choice to go to basic. It jumps straight into the cartridge, jumps straight into, goes into GROM 6000 immediately. Doesn't give you an option for anything else. So to bypass that, we just hold the shift key, and if you hold the shift key and turn it on, which I'm going to try to do with one hand, then it actually bypasses everything. So it bypasses the auto start, it bypasses the ROS title screen, and it goes straight to the original TI menu, or TI title screen, at which point you have access to your menu there. So if I turn this off and turn it back on, after removing editor assembler, we're going to get the, or we should get the custom ROS title screen. Yep. So everything I'm seeing right now leads me to believe we have a stable card with stable disk, virtual RAM disk in there. So whatever issues we were having seemed to be resolved at the time, for the time being. Anyway, I'm going to sign off for now, and then hopefully soon we'll do a video on menu and figure out how exactly powerful we can get with a 384K RAM disk. These RAM disks can get much larger. The Horizon RAM disk Plus and the 3000 had a lot more memory, had a lot more battery-backed RAM, but 384 is quite a bit, especially for this system. You can put a lot of crap into 384K. So anyway, that's it for now. I'm glad I have this at least momentarily resolved. And if you have an opportunity to get a RAM disk, do so, and we can go through this journey together on how to increase the power at your fingertips here with this piece of hardware. Thanks.